Hey everyone, this is Jake, the narrator. Just want to apologize for how long this one's taken me to get done. I had a kid recently. If you hear any sounds in the background, I have my 2-year-old son in here with me, and he's also watching some cartoons in the background. So, anyway, if you hear any background noises, that might be what it is. So, sorry for the delay. After I finished the last life update email, I wallowed in the affect disposition of discomfort that the mustard gas injected into my veins brought upon me. But, hopefully, that will be the last time I ever feel like that. So, perhaps I should just cherish the aforementioned disposition as a parting token, ... Who's to say? Regardless of how I should regard it, though, it's funny you would say regardless, followed immediately with regard, I felt blah. Hence, I just watched anime until time for food came, at which point my family graciously granted me empanadas, which are really expensive for their size, by the way. Like, holy cow, ... And yeah, those were barely tolerable, and I felt big nauseous. So, unfortunately, they were barely enjoyed. Therefore, having eaten a little bit, I turned my backlogged life updates into videos for YouTube before researching cancer scholarship stuff. Because, as I've said before, if you're going to get cancer, then you might as well leverage it. XD. What I did after that, I honestly don't remember, but I'm sure it was trivial and unimportant. Benj came over at some point, but I was still feeling big lethargic. So Ben ended up carrying the social weight, which was honestly quite appreciated. I ate pizza that almost tasted okay, and then we all went over to CSU. We all, meaning Benj, me, Grace, and Ben. And we ended up playing ping pong with chairs, which, while largely ineffective, was actually pretty fun. There's a skill set to chair pong, and I will say, toward the end there, Benj and I had something going. Once we got back from that, I was big tired, so I just went to sleep. The next morning, I didn't go to church because I needed bonus sleep given my state. I then attended the Wade's Easter party, but only in body, not in spirit. My spirit was very absent from my zombie form, XD. The party was quite lackluster, and I was feeling bad, hence I left early. Once I got home, I attempted to sleep with negligible success, made a letter for my D&D campaign, and then went over to Neo and Sydney's for Easter dinner. Yet, amidst such dinner, I did pop back home to consume a copious amount of jalapeno popper peppers, because Mom made those and they are fire. But, after eating those for 20 minutes straight, I did go back to the Bowen's place, where we watched an episode of Avatar and some Phineas and Ferb. See, Phineas and Ferb has aged very well in my mind. Bro, true. As good as I remember it being, maybe better. Avatar, yeah, much less so. That show is kind of garbage, and I remember loving it, so that was a big sad, ... It's like My Little Pony all over again, ... Bro, what? Once I left the Bowen's house, I stopped by King Soopers, got some body armor, then went home and went to sleep once more. Monday, I felt significantly better, so that was big nice. I then met with the buffest man I know, Merrick Schroyer. Dude, the GOAT. Bro, Merrick is the GOAT. To discuss the secrets of his strength, ... It was actually very interesting. At first, he did this weird thing where he hardcore avoided eye contact. He would talk and not make eye contact at all. But then, as we got into it, and especially as we got into theology down the line, because in exchange, I gave him theological knowledge for his museal knowledge, then he stopped with the radical eye contact chastity and instead was just normal. Must be an indication of the degree of his comfortability with you, but I don't know. It was quite noticeable. Side tangent, but maybe I'm just hypersensitive about eye contact. I don't pay much attention to most nonverbal cues, but it seems like eye contact must be the exception, because, Merrick's lack thereof was super noticeable to me, as was that postulated INFJ barista's excessive eye contact. The can I have a kiss on the lips barista. Oh, yeah. It must be that's like my nonverbal social cue. Plants flag in the soil. I hereby claim eye contact for the illustrious nation of Alexandria. Anyway, eye contact strangeness aside, he was quite helpful and gave me a workout routine that I will be employing the present age to come. The great buffness age, ... That whole conversation lasted 2 hours or so, and once I got home, I did Funime. From there, I did philosophy, worked on recording life update backlogs, ate the food at Joe's, engaged in standard D&D practice, watched a few episodes of Blue Lock, and then went home a touch early. But before going to sleep, I was sure to stop by Wendy's for one of their big cheap burgers. And then I put jalapeno pepper stuffing on it, and it was delicious. Tuesday, I began a new routine I intend to uphold whereby I eat much protein for breakfast. See, because of my genetic stuff, I am now aware of all the likely deficiencies I have, and hence I trying to compensate by eating foods that contain those things I'm deficient in. So like I'm putting flaxseed in my eggs, which honestly isn't bad, and eating mucho avocado, stuff like that. There's a small chance I become something of a health nut in this upcoming season of my life, ... Anyway, did that routine, went to class, got home, did philosophy, ate some leftover jalapeno poppers, and then went to sleep at like 7. I know it's super early, but chemo makes me want to sleep a lot. I got a full 14 hours of sleep that night, which was the big nice. And then I engaged in that same breakfast routine. Oh, I forgot to mention, I usually listen to a podcast as I do the breakfast making. And then I watch an anime episode as I do the breakfast eating, so that's part of the routine. But after I finished my routine, I just felt robustly unproductive. This does happen from me from time to time. I just become your typical FI Dom, but it still catches me off guard when it happens. So yeah, didn't really do much, ... I lay in the sun, that felt nice. Contacted people to see if they wanted to do something, but they were all busy, which did not feel nice. And then, after staying in that state for an age, I motivated myself to go over to CSU and sit in the sauna. Kind of pulled me out of my lazy funk. Once I got back, I did life update email backlog recording, philosophy reading, and then I joined Grace, Emerson, and Adil in their hangout, and we climbed up Ben's Rock in Wrist Canyon. At this point in time, Mom has deemed me the teenage girl whisperer, which I think is kind of funny XD. Oh boy. But yeah, that was a good time, and I enjoyed it. Bro, I don't know if I like that, bro. I don't know how I feel about that, bro. Once we got back from that, I just did some philosophy before bed. Thursday, I did my routine, had classes, and registered for the classes of next semester, and that went off without a hitch. I then walked down mountain and commented on houses with Benj, Ben, Grace, and Johanna before eventually arriving at Mugs, where I used the power of MBTI to divulge all of Rebecca and Ben's secrets. That was fun. Oh, also met Ben's girlfriend, Annalise, for the first time. She seemed mildly interesting. Bro, Ben has a girlfriend? Bro! That's great. Good for him. Thereafter, Benj, Joe, David, and I engaged in spikeball greatness, and that was big fun. I could definitely tell my body hadn't fully recovered from the chemo yet, though, because my reaction time was slower, my muscles aches, and felt like I might pull them, and I got tired so much faster than I should have. Regardless, it was just really good to be physically active again, and I'm really glad we got to play. From there, Mom got us Qdoba burritos, since Qdoba had this free burrito if you buy a burrito thing going on. And then Benj and I watched Saga of Tana the Evil as we ate that. From there, I picked up Neo and drove to Joe's, and on that drive, great singing occurred. Neo is actually learning the lyrics to my songs, so that's pretty great. Once at Joe's, we engaged in some Dibalo playing, we meaning Neo, Joe, Noah, and I. And we did that till about 10:30 at night, and then came back home. Friday, I performed my morning routine with the soothing voice of the Voss entering my ears. Aw, that's sweet. I then took a nap. I don't know why I did that, ... That seems kind of odd. Wake up, eat breakfast, go back to sleep. Huh. Well, I'm sure I had a good reason. I then read some Spiral Dynamics only to receive a call from Caleb, where he was like, "Yo, you free?" "Yep." "Like money?" "Yep." "Can you be at my house in 15 minutes? "Yep." And that was that. Me and him then helped Legendary Rich Lady. Have I talked about Legendary Rich Lady before? I'm not sure I have. ... All right, brief tangent. I promise this won't take long. So, long ago, when Caleb was just a lad and his mother advertised him on Craigslist like any good mother would, he was procured by this woman to do odd jobs at irregular intervals for copious sums of money. So ever since then, whenever she needs, in this case a TV mounted or a dog zipline leash established, something, she calls him up and she pays him way more than his efforts are worth. Back in the day, I was included in one such job and profited handsomely. Hence, when he told me the same woman had a job for him and he needed a building buddy, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in. See, wasn't that a nice short tangent? Anyway, I drove with him to said Legendary Rich Lady's house. We did the things in a timely manner, and then we left. Me, $75 the richer for 2 hours of work. So yeah, that was profitable. I then got free Wendy's because Wendy's is doing this thing where you can get a large fry for free with your purchase, but it treats your rewards as a purchase. Hence, if you pick the cheapest reward option, then you can get like a chicken sandwich and a large fry for literally $0, which is fantastic, and what I did. I honestly don't know how Wendy's does not lose money, ... But hey, keep doing what you're doing, Wendy's. Thereafter, I did Funime and went straight from there to join Grace for singing lessons with Rowan. Honestly, I think it went pretty well. Rowan is actually great. Very cool ISTJ, and man, can he sing. So I'm hoping I can level up significantly through his tutelage. I then did more life update email backlog recording and worked on getting those online until I went to sleep. The Saturday that began upon my waking was occupied with Cable's Indonesia gathering / fundraising event. David showed up, because he just does that, ... I swear, that man is always where I least expect him. And so we chatted some, and then he helped me brave the social inertia and join the table with mostly females. See, it's always that first, sitting down uninvited moment that's rough. After that, social interaction is a piece of cake. So yeah, joined in there, has some great banter, and there was one girl there, Jacqueline might have been her name, that is apparently also a mechanical engineer. So hopefully that connection will pay off at some point, because, lol, all the people I knew have moved on, because my year break, and so I'm going to need teammates, ... But yeah, we played this crazy game of Uno, and mostly it was just fun to flex my social muscles with people I didn't know, and as far as I can tell, I did quite well. So yep, did that, worked on singing nasally, because Rowan told me to do that, and then I did Funime, worked on recording my life update email backlog, and then spent a good amount of time uploading those. After, I went over to John's place to hang, and while the start of the hangout was quite average, some good old magic games, after that I did something novel. I tried smoking a cigar. What a great idea after battling cancer. Just kidding, that's cigars. You don't smoke cigars the same way you smoke, joints or cigarettes, so shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, well, that certainly is a flattering picture, but it's what I got, so we press on, XD. Anyway, yeah, this is a thing John has gotten into quite a bit as of late, and he wanted me to try it, so I humored him. Honestly, it was okay. I didn't feel different, but maybe I just wasn't attentive enough to my body. But there definitely is that, refined philosopher appeal to smoking a cigar for me, ... I just feel more dignified and elite. So honestly, that's the real draw, XD. But fear not! I have no intention to start smoking, if for no other reason than the exorbitant cost of cigars. Though I have considered it would be fun to buy a pipe and then smoke non-tobacco substances, because then you get the vibe without the nicotine, which sounds like a win-win to me. Honestly, kind of, yeah, same. But anyway, other than the cigars, and also the wind, it was mega windy, and branches were being blown down left and right. The really significant thing that happened was John and I had a very good talk. Almost certainly the deepest conversation we've had thus far, and hence, I very much enjoyed that. After that, I came home, had great food, and did Funime, worked on backlogging my life updates, went on a brief walk in the wind with my AOT cape thing on, and then read the very last of the unopened letters before going to sleep. Church ensued the next morn. I participated, though I ended up leaving a bit early from the social goings-on thereafter, only to discover that was kind of dumb, because 45 minutes really isn't enough time to get any serious philosophy done. But oh well, you live and you learn. Hence, I stalled until D&D, which I then participated in, but it was a slog. Nevertheless, made it through. However, afterward, Peter and Maddie, the semi-B stud members, attended, and we had a conversation about beauty and what it consisted of, and I enjoyed that. Always fun to philosophically ramble, ... After I left that event, as presumably people weren't going to be doing much of anything, I left for home, did some life update backlog recording, and then proceeded to talk with Sydney, online Sydney, and got the Airbnb booked for the Marland trip I'll be doing with Benj and Grace. I'm actually quite looking forward to that. It should be big fun. Thereafter, I did more life update backlog recording, and then I called it a night. The next morning, I decided I would do things a bit differently and read philosophy until I got hungry, and then do my breakfast routine. And that was a good idea. I'll probably do more of that in the future. I then did more philosophy, did the big communicationing with the peoples, walked with Benj as we listened to our respective podcasts and audiobooks, played some fantastic spikeball with Joe and Ben and Benj. Honestly, both Ben and Joe are quite good. Not quite Benj and I level, but still very good. So it was a lot of fun playing with them. Really good competitive games. Oh, also, Ben let us try his assortment of jelly beans. There are way more varieties of those than I knew existed. And I must say, Jolly Rancher jelly beans are fire. Big good. Once Spike Ball wrapped up, and I wasn't tired this time, by the way, my body is recovering and actually feels fantastic. I got home, took a shower, and recouped some. Drove with Neo to Joe's, ate the food, and did D&D, which was a bit more scandalous than typical D&D, but we don't talk about that, ... And yes, this was really my fault, so I accept at least most of the responsibility, ... Once I got back, Grace and I went on a drive where she had some introspective thoughts she shared, and we brainstormed solutions to a thing, and then we did a baby hike and looked over the city at night, and it was cool. Fort Collins really is massive, and also city gazing is better than I remember it being. Tuesday was the breakfast routine classes, no journalism class though. Actually, that's funny, I also took journalism back in the day. Actually, I don't know if that's true, ... All I know is that everyone just started leaving at one point. And so I just assumed they had a good reason. Like, class was canceled, so I joined them. I try to live by Buford's life motto, and I quote, "My mom always said, if all my friends were jumping off a cliff, I should too, ... Hee hee. Phineas and Ferb truly is full of great wisdom. When I got home, I read philosophy, talked with Mom, and got noodles. Did more philosophy reading, worked on my life update email backlog, and then more philosophy. Then Funime, then Grace's friend Katie came over, and with some difficulty, I discovered her type was an ISFP, which explains the difficulty, ... ISFP have like 18 different layers of defenses, false walls, and hidden packages. Cracking an ISFP is like breaking into the U.S. Treasury or something. It's both immensely vexing and needlessly challenging, but that's what makes it intriguing. Anyway, anytime someone says I can't do something, I'm like, bet. Karina, someday I will know your inner life, and it will happen. Just you wait, ... You can't ISFP me forever. I say that, but we know she totally can, ... So, like, just know I'm not actually delusional enough to think I can crack an ISFP against their will. Unless I could use torture. But that seems a little bit against the spirit of enterprise, so I think I'll refrain for now, ... Anyway, Katie was an ISFP, makes big sense. I then read Spiral Dynamics, walked some, and then read more Spiral Dynamics till bed and had my brain blown. I am 100% late stage 5, orange, and just entering stage 6, green. Like, actually reading through that, it felt like someone was reading my mind. Creepy, disconcerting, and enthralling. Bro, I freaking told you. That's what I thought you were. Wednesday morning routine, life update backlog, Spiral Dynamics reading, and then talked with Joe for about 3 hours about said Spiral Dynamics reading and other things. Wendy's, more reading, a bit more Spiral Dynamics, and then sleep. As for yesterday, that consisted of the routine classes as usual. Spiral Dynamics for reading, finding Ben's stage. He's actually mid-stage 5/orange, so just like a third step behind me. Playing Johanna in table tennis before going over to Ben's house, where Johanna, Benj, and Ben and I all played spike ball. It took a bit of finagling to make the teams evenish, but it turns out if Benj and Ben both play left-handed, then it's a pretty even match against Johanna and I. Where was I? Thereafter, Thursday night, things occurred in which Joe, bless that man, proposed we mix things up. Hence, after eating 6 waffles and then making me feel sick, we drove to Boulder for donuts, and it was decent. Not the greatest of hangout activities, but mildly interesting, and I appreciated mixing things up. ... Once we got back, Joe and Neo worked on Neo's upcoming Champions magic system, which apparently Joe really enjoys building stuff like that, so they've hit it off, which is fun to see. And then I ranted to Noah about the various things I hate in philosophy. I feel like I've become a curmudgeon-y philosopher as of late. I mean, I've read over 2,000 pages of top-notch philosophy essays in this cancer time, so, like, I think I've earned the right to be a bit curmudgeon-y. It's just philosophers really are idiots sometimes. Like, take, oh my gosh, Hakeshides as an example. Assuming the interpretation of Hakeshides that doesn't just reduce it to a thisness is the one where one we're talking about, the notion is that Haechsidi are a primitive, non-multiply, insatiable property where its content is the this of the thisness to which it adheres. And so, since it's basically a suchness whose content is the thing's thisness, the idea is then that it makes the thisness a this such, and thus does work in this way or that. But clearly that's dumb, because if the suchness could have the content of a thing's thisness, which it can't, by the way, I demonstrate this in my thisness and suchness paper, but basically a thisness and suchness must remain logically distinct or face absurdity. But even if that weren't the case, in order for there to be such a suchness, there would have to already have, logically, not temporally, mind you, a this such prior to the suchness, such that the suchness could pick it out. If there were only a thisness prior to the Haechsidi, then the Haechsidi wouldn't have any content to add to the thisness, and thus it wouldn't be a suchness, as you can't have a contentless suchness. Hence, for Haechsidis to do what they're supposed to do, they need to be both logically prior and logically posterior to the thing being a this such, which, of course, violates the necessary conditions for grounding, and hence is absurd. But no, everyone's like, we can just fix things with Haechsidis, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, my guy, do a half of a thing. It's also vexing sometimes. I expect so much from humanity, and yet I'm constantly disappointed, ... Anyway, I ran into Noah about that. I think he mostly understood, which is an accomplishment in and of itself. And then I went home and slept. And what better way is there to end my life update email than me complaining about how those clearly smarter than me are idiots? I certainly can't think of one. XD. So, huzzah! Thank you for your attention and time. Now go out into the world and restore my faith in humanity. Mostly by not being dumb, ...